Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome once again to the eastern wing of the Stink Bug Works. You know, that super secret research and development division of Dr. Jet Laboratories, where we invent things and make stuff. Anyway, haven't been any Big B videos lately, and so everybody's probably starving for a video of some sort, so I thought I'd just give a little progress update. I'm sure Big B and everybody else had a good Thanksgiving, and I hope we're looking forward to a Merry Christmas. Anyway, I've had to put the jet boat aside as I'm waiting for parts to show up, and they're coming on that slow boat. So in the interim, I decided I'd do a little prep work on the shrimp boat. Although I don't like the name shrimp boat, and I kind of agree with Big B. So maybe we'll call this the Super Jet. We'll find out. Anyway, anytime I approach a project, I want to have a philosophy. I want to have a mission for the project to fulfill. For example, the jet boat, its mission is a rescue boat and to scare the birds away. And as such, I'm not looking for top speed. That's why I could go with a jet, and the jet works good for rescue and so forth. So that was its mission. And everything sort of has a mission, especially when you're building a kit. You go, how am I going to build this kit? So my approach for this kit is I'm going to build it as light as I possibly can and put in a small motor. Now, I was originally thinking of putting in this, what is this? Oh, this is a 2Y. This is a 1005 2Y, an old Aviox 1005 2Y, basically the forerunner of the new motors. Steve New and Matt Palumbo, who was Aviox, were real good friends and shared a lot of information and data. So this is that motor's daddy. Anyway, I was thinking about using this motor, but the problem is the KV is pretty high. This is 4,900, and that means I'd have to run really small props. So I'm thinking of either an 1105 with an appropriate KV, or maybe even an 1107 or even an 1110. Now, Wayne is running his with an Aviox 1010. And for all practical purpose, Aviox and New, just interchange them for the sake of this discussion. The 1010 he runs, it works pretty good, but it might be a bit heavy. So again, the Europeans race this class with a 60-gram motor, and that's the 1005. So I might settle for a 1007, save weight here, pay for weight in the motor. We'll see as I get the build going along, because, they're going to use the same mounts and everything. So that's kind of an update there. So to save weight, for example, what I've done is, if you look, I've sanded all this down real good. I've knocked 4 grams off this thing already just by sanding these pieces. I've sanded them real good on the top and sides. And another thing, when you're building these things, they have the little retention tabs here. When you're gluing things together that have that retention tab, you want to make sure you get rid of that tab so you get a good joint. Same thing with the depth of these tabs. I put them on a sanding block and sand the tabs to depth using the piece it's going to glue to. So although I'm not going to lighten the transom. I think the transom, it can just be beefy. It's not going to hurt to be beefy. So there you are. The jet boat's put aside. I'm doing some parts prep on this. This is going to go into a secret project. Yes, boys and girls, Dr. Jet is going to put an 1105 new motor into a secret project. And this is the same motor that's in the Silver Bullet, but a lower KV. I may swap motors out, and see, it's real easy, just one bolt and the motor comes out. I may swap motors out just so I don't draw as much current and I can put a bigger prop on there. I'm kind of limited in small props that thing will turn because I go too small and it cavitates. So it may behoove me to drop the KV a little bit so I can prop up. We shall see. Oh, another thought. Now, if you read the plans, we follow the plans, or actually these would be Chinese. So we follow the plans. Oh, I guess that's all there is to it. You see how they have the drive offset to the left and the rudder to the right. They did that because, most riggers run the rudder to the right. Although most hydros have a prop walk syndrome, and you want a little bit of motor offset to the starboard. No, port, starboard. You want the motor offset to the right to counteract that prop walk, because the prop walk makes the back of the boat want to move this way. So if you're pressing from the corner, it kind of counteracts that. So I may flip this over and have the rudder off on this side. What other boats have I run with? The Silver Bullet has the rudder off on this side, and it works just fine. And I think I've got another couple of hydros I've run from time to time with the rudder on this side, and I really don't see much difference in which side the rudder's on. What I'm more concerned with is the thrust line. And so I may just invert all the asymmetric parts that deal with the thrust line, flip the hull bottom over and, oh, why, there it is. So that's my plan. So to the lightweight thing, I'm not going to use any sponson tubes. I'm just going to glue the thing together, one piece, be done with it. No excess parts. I want it as light as I possibly can, without going crazy. So that's pretty much a video today to fill up the blank spaces. Until next time, Jet out. Hi, boys and girls. Dr. Jet back again. I need to make a correction on my previous video. I said the guy's name was Matt Palumbo. That's incorrect. It was Dave Palumbo who was behind Aviox, and his partner was Matt, and I forget Matt's last name. They looked like mobsters. Dave Palumbo was Italian, and Matt looked like his enforcer. He was like 6'3". He was a giant guy, so you better pay up for your motors. So anyway, it was Dave Palumbo. As long as I'm redoing this video, I think I'm going to tell you what my plan is on assembling the sides here, laminating this on. I'm going to take out my magnetic board, put down a piece of wax paper, and then lightly paint epoxy all over this, and then wipe it off until it's just like you could tell I almost wiped epoxy on it. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this side and wipe it off. And then I'm going to put them together with uber strong magnets all along here, holding it down. And then what I'm going to do is, with like a little tool, since this epoxy takes forever to go off, I'm just going to dribble in a little along here and wipe it up, and dribble in a little along here and wipe it up, and just kind of dribble a little epoxy in here and wipe it up, wipe it up, wipe it up, you know, all the time that it's magnetically tacked down. What I may do is I may lift a magnet, let it get under there, put the magnet back down, wipe, and so I'll have a nice thin coat of epoxy on here, complete, and then as I glue this in, you know, it'll all be tight. And then I'll come back one more time and do a thin coat of epoxy on the outer part here, wipe clean, and then I'll glue them together. And in fact, at that same time, I'll go ahead and epoxy coat all the little various sub-members that go into here. And so everything will get pre-epoxy coated. I'll do the same thing for the bottom skin, at least on the inside. I'll epoxy coat that when that goes together. And everything will be pre-coated in epoxy, and that way I can sand it and keep the weight way down, because epoxy is one of the biggest criminals in adding weight to these things. So I'm going to use the bare minimum amount of epoxy to keep these things together. I'm going to have a real nice, tight, sealed epoxy joint. I'm not going to bother with CA and then come back later with epoxy. It's going to be uber light. So that's Jet's plan. So now, once again, Jet out.